hello. Welcome. Come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now in the den. So, guys, this is my review recap for Godfather of Harlem, Season 3, Episode 9. We are all kings. Baby, let me tell y'all something, honey. They gonna stop playing with Bumpy, all right? We gonna cut it out. Child, this episode had my blood pressure high, y'all. All right? Open up my window again. Open up my window again. I can hear death calling my name. I can hear death calling my name. I know a damn thing ain't gonna change. Baby, Chen is back up in these streets, all right? Chen is back on the block, all right? That's what we've been waiting for. He is coming through, baby, taking names, cutting off damn hands, and telling damn Columbo, stop playing with me, child. If you don't get up out my face, all right, you ain't gonna have a face no more. And he trying to see if he can't come back and do some daggone business with Bumpy. Baby, protect Elise at all costs. Like, we need Battle up out of here, all right? We need freaking Wild Bill, fake ass, you know what I'm saying, wannabe Wolfman Jack up out of here. We need Columbo to sit his daggone behind down and put some respect on Chen's name. Listen, y'all. Oh my goodness, this episode had my blood pressure high. Of course, we know that Malcolm is about to be up out of here. All right, his days is numbered. You know, he know it, we know it. He is a dead man walking, but Bumpy don't want to hear it, all right? He trying to protect him. And, you know what I'm saying, he knows now that him and Dagon Chen got to take back Harlem, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this episode. Break it on down. Take it from the top. You know how we do. Baby, we started out with Columbo sitting at the table with the bosses, you know what I'm saying, talking about some, you know, this what brings, you know what I'm saying, to the first business of order, okay? He essentially wants them to put some respect on his name, give him his due, because he's been bringing in this money for him all this time. He's able to have this leverage, he got Bumpy out of their way and all this and that. And they like, he's saying he want to make sure that Chen is not going to be able to come at him in no different types of ways, not going to be able to take nothing from him and things of that nature. And they like, well, listen here, young man, hold up, wait a minute, okay? Let's not forget that Chen is a freaking big boss, right? One of the biggest major bosses or whatever. So there's a lot of things to consider. We can't just be out here, you know what I mean, acting like he don't exist and giving stuff to you. He's powerful. And so he was like, well, listen, I'm willing to forgive that he, tried to whack me or whatever the case may be. But I want to make sure that he's not going to be coming after me and that, he can still get his seat, or rather still get his piece, but basically have a back seat, right? And so he wants them to give him the full authority over Harlem. But we kind of giving faces over here like we ain't so sure about all of that. We really can't make that kind of promise. Now, of course, Lombardi is scared. He know he got stuff over him. So he's already shaking his head, number one. He's the first to do it. And then the other bosses kind of reluctantly, start shaking their heads, honey. Talking about, all right, yes, you know what I'm saying? And so Columbo was like, okay, that's good. He got a big smile on his face and he was like, well, here's to a new shipment and smooth sailing, baby. Or so they think. Now, moving on from there, honey, we see in the jail and we seeing them say, get on up. Okay, let's go. Today is your lucky day. And the next thing you know, we got Dagon Chen walking up out the daggone jail. I say, yes, baby, come through, Chen. Yes. And, old fake Olympia talking about, so there's my baby, there's my honey. Look at you. Oh, my God. I'm so happy to have you home. Mwah, 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 baby. Look at you. Okay, running over there to giving him, a hug, talking about this is the happiest day of her life. I said, girl, if you don't get up out my face, I can't wait for Chen to find out, what you've been up to. So we basically over here, celebrating and having a welcome home party for Chen, all right? And all these daggone people is in his face that's supposed to be the so-called friends, and his lawyer is there. You know what I'm saying? Olympia's there. She over here telling him how she got all this food that she cooked for him. And he like, man, I'm not hungry. I don't give a damn about no food. Like, where is my daughter? He asking the lawyer where my daughter, asking her where my daughter. Oh, she didn't want to come. She didn't want to be bothered. Olympia telling him how, I invited her. I don't know where she at. She just didn't want to be here. And so she was basically like, oh, don't worry about her. And Shin started throwing that damn food down that she made, telling her to get the hell up out of his damn face. And he jumped up on that damn lawyer and was like, where's my daughter? Answer me right the hell now, okay? Because I think y'all must have freaking missed the part where I said I want my daughter and I want her now, period, point blank. So now we see Malcolm giving this speech or whatever the case may be. He's basically talking about as far as, slavery and the field Negro and the house Negro, and what I'm saying, what is the difference and how, they are. And so as he's leaving from the speech or whatever the case may be, we have this person come over and introduce himself. But Malcolm is like, I know who you are. It's nice to meet you. And he was like, I think that, Martin would have liked to be here. So he's basically like, is he still in jail? And he tells him, yeah, whatever. So he basically was like, I really wish you could come with me back, to see him and speak to him in jail or whatever the case may be. But Malcolm was like, I would have loved to do that. But at the end of the day, I actually have another place that I have to be, which is Detroit, to give a speech, so I can't go. And I was like, Dag, I really wish, that he would have been able to have that meeting, because at this point we know that Malcolm and Martin was on two different, pages as far as their ways of thinking or whatever, but they did end up having conversations and writing letters and whatever the case may be, and kind of having a different output and aspect. And there was things that they actually wanted to work on together, but of course, unfortunately, that never got to happen. And this person that was walking up to him at the time was actually Andrew Young. So I loved, them putting that part in there. But he tells him he wouldn't be able to go with him or whatever, right? And so he was like, yeah, he afraid so that he is still locked up. And, he really just wished that they would have been able to do some collabs. But at this point, I'm sorry, it wasn't Detroit. He wasn't going to Detroit so late in the episode. But at this point, he was supposed to be going, to Harlem. But he was like, I definitely wish to work with him more in the future. And so, basically Andrew Young was like, because he was saying there's no reason why they can't, combine things. So he said, well, in your speech, you basically was accurately describing the differences with the field Negro and the house Negro. So he was like, where do you think that Martin would fit in all of this stuff, right? Like Dr. King would fit in all this. He said, well, let me put it this way. He was like, at the end of the day, if the master's house was on fire, I believe that Dr. King and I would be standing side by side, in the field, and we would be praying for a strong wind to come along. And so they both, started laughing at that, and they shook hands or whatever the case may be. So now we get Bumpy. He in the house, with Mamie or whatever, and they just basically like, oh, last night was delicious. They over here rekindling their little love, okay, and having, some breakfast and just chit-chatting, asking did he see the New York Times and all of that. And then Elise comes over. So, of course, they talk about the fact that there was, of course, we knew this, but Malcolm and them didn't know, right? An attempt on Shay's life. So she's basically saying you may have saved Malcolm's life. We know that he did, in fact, save Malcolm's life, and ain't no May in it. And so he was like, you want to tell him that because he don't even want to be bothered with me or whatever. And he took all my men off. And so, of course, they was talking about how he was trying to have alliances with Dr. King or whatever. And, my Bumpy was saying that kind of exposure would actually probably make him have even more threats or whatever, right? And Mamie was asking, at least can't you talk some sense into him? But Mamie was letting them know, like, listen, he got his mind made up. He knows what's going on or whatever the case may be. And he also feels a way about, of course, Bumpy and his criminal record and all of that kind of stuff. So she was like, well, your father has been staying away from drug dealing or whatever the case may be. And she was like, that doesn't matter. And so he was like, well, I don't give a damn about none of that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Bumpy still wants to make sure that he's safe, whether he want him to be there or not, right? And he was like, he still needs my help, even whether he knows it or not. So they were saying, they set up a meeting or whatever, right? So, of course, Elise over here still in his daggone, told she's saying she'll see what she could do. And he was basically telling her to get her own, but she was like, eating yours, okay, it tastes so much better. So, moving on from there, of course, Chen had basically, got the information of where Stella was at, and he goes to her apartment. She's hearing knocking at the door, and, she's basically like, who? And he's like, your father. So, of course, she's hesitant at first to open up the daggone door, and, she does open it or whatever, and they just looking at each other, and then, she hesitantly lets him in, but we didn't really get to hear, what they say. So now we seeing Malcolm get home, and he have these roses for, his wife, and of course the security is out there, and Omar's still telling him how they got everything locked down and everything straight and everything safe and they all good or whatever the case may be. And I still don't trust Omar. I don't give a damn what they say, okay? And obviously, Bumpy don't trust him either, but they really trying to make him seem like, he about it and he really here for Malcolm or whatever. And so when he gets inside, he giving his wife the flowers. She's very happy, of course, to have him home, saying the girls is all tucked in, and sleep, and, it's Valentine's Day, and we just trying to spend time together, okay, and get our love on, all right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. And so after that, we see this guy come up and just hit him in the damn head, so the security in the head, I should say, right? And basically throw like a Molotov cocktail bomb, whatever the heck it was, through the damn window. And the next thing you know is a freaking explosion and the house is on fire. So if you just finished saying that it was safe and everything is straight or whatever, and y'all got all this security, then how could something like that happen? So of course Bumpy is even more pissed. Thankfully at this point, him and the girls and his wife Betty are able to get out safe. They saying it's all gonna be okay, and he actually ends up sending them, we find later in the episode, to Ozzy and oh gosh, well, I can't think of the wife's name right now. Ozzy and Ruby Davis' house, right? When Bumpy get there, he's checking on him, and he says that Ozzy and Ruby D have them. So basically, he's like, he's going to stay there on his own. And then Bumpy is like, okay, are you ready to have my help now? Do you understand that you are in freaking danger and I'm not playing with you, and that I was right about when I talked about the UN? So he was like, yeah, I owe you an apology. So basically he was like, we both are very stubborn, you and I. And they, basically laugh and they in agreeing about that. But he's like, listen, Malcolm, I'm saying? I want to help you. I'm begging you. Like, I don't want nothing to happen to you. He was like, why don't you let my men join in with your men or whatever? They're more professional and, you know what I mean? They know what they hell to do. So he was like, listen, I'm a dead man walking regardless. There's nothing that you or anybody could do about that. And Bumpy is like, I don't want to hear that kind of talk coming out your damn mouth. And he's like, look, do I want to freaking, be with my wife till I'm old? Do I want to live a long life? I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I do. I want to live a long life. I want to enjoy my kids, my family. I want to grow till I'm old. But the fact of the matter is, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? I can't ignore my people suffering. I can't sit down and be quiet or whatever the case may be. So none of that doesn't matter anymore. It's not what I want or whatever. I accept that I am going to be killed. I have, made my peace with it. So of course Bumpy is just looking at him at this point when he's saying that. Now we basically get from there, and we see that Stella and her dad, they do hug each other, whatever the case may be. And he's telling her that she's coming with him. And she's like, wait, what happened? And he was like, Fireman, he got, me out or whatever, And so he's saying that she's saying that she's not leaving or whatever, right? She gonna stay there. And he was like, look, I don't care that you ratted on me. I don't care that nothing that happened or whatever. You know that what I deserve. And he was like, that's what under the bridge. And she was like, well, you asked Columbo to protect me, and he did. And he was like, well, you know, she was like, listen to me. She was like, he looked after me or whatever, and he's good or whatever. So he was like, yeah, I did that for you. And she was like, I know. So she basically was like, you know, and I'm grateful or whatever. But she was like, you know, and he says, well, I need you to do me a favor for me. So she's like, yeah. He was like, and she said, no, let me finish. She was like, no, Joe trusts me or whatever. And he was like, what do you mean you working for him? She was like, yeah, I'm working for him. He was like, what are you talking about? She was like, you don't have to take care of me anymore, you know? So he was like, okay, I need you to listen. He was like, first off, you always gonna, you know, of course, be my daughter, whatever. He was like, you're not going to be around Columbo no more. So she's like, Dad, and then he was like, no, I need you to come, you know what I'm saying, back by me for your own safety. So then she's like, no. She was like, who do you think tried to kill me in the first place? You know, he said, if you're worried about one of them or whatever, that he would take them out. And she was, you know, she was like, let me save you the trouble. It was Tommy, you know, the crazy. So he's like, and she told him he was given the order by your wife. So he like, looking, baby, honey child, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. So we got Battle and freaking old Wild Bill having this conversation, and I'm confused. I'm just trying to understand why Battle is being such a damn hater right now and going so hard at Bumpy. Like, what is the truth? Because it's not making no damn sense how all of a sudden you acting like you the damn victim that was betrayed by damn Bumpy when you the one that betrayed him, Battle, all right? I need you to break it down to me like I'm a 5-year-old. So even while Bill is saying like, oh, we don't got nothing to worry about, you know what I'm saying, with him or whatever, you know, he over here offering him a drink talking about is it too early for rum? And he basically was telling him like, oh, Bumpy is not going to be an issue because they're going to be getting ready to get Malcolm up out of here anyway. He going to go one way or another. And there's a whole bunch of people that want him up out of here, right? And then, you know, he was like basically saying that, you know, for somebody, even while Bill told him, for somebody that thinks so highly over, you know, people being loyal or whatever, actually Bumpy was very loyal to you. And so he was like, you know, for somebody to take loyalty to be so big, it don't seem like you paying it too much in mind in this situation. And he was asking him, you know, has Bumpy ever shorted him as far as any money? And he was like, no. So at the end of the day, even while Bill trying to figure out what the heck the problem is, right? If he's been making mad money with this operation, then what are we, you know what I'm saying, worried about? He was like, if anything, I suggest that you patch up, you know what I'm saying, your relationship with him. And so then Battle was saying, well, what about Malcolm? And he's so worried about him and he won't leave his side. And that's when he starts telling him, well, they ain't gonna have to worry about that too much longer. And he was like, once his friend is gone, then he's gonna come back to us. So then he's asking him who's gonna take care of that job. And he was like, oh, trust me, there's plenty of people that basically want to be able to take care of him. So that's gonna be going down, right? Now, Bumpy is asking Chance and Nat to look into who the hell did this daggone bomb and who's trying to kill Malcolm. And they was like, well, when it's somebody that don't even want your help and you don't even know where to start, you know what I'm saying, what the heck are you supposed to do? They was like, we don't mind doing this, but we don't really have much to go on or whatever the case may be, so it's not going to be easy. And of course, Bumpy is like, I don't give a damn if it's easy, hard, you know what I'm saying, or indifferent, get on it. Now, just as he's saying that, Omar and Elise come in. And of course, you know, Omar over here talking about some thank you for seeing me or whatever. And Bumpy is like, why should I trust you? You know what I'm saying? Malcolm might have let you back around. I heard you over here being his head of damn security, but you're literally the one that had the knife out on him, or the gun out on him, ready to damn shoot him had I not come up. And so Elise is telling Bumpy to chill, but then, you know, Omar is like, he's right. I understand why he feels the way that he feels or whatever. And he's saying that he actually might have an idea of who did this. And that, of course, when he went to the other, you know, place in Newark or whatever the case may be, they was over here talking about some plots and plans, you know what I'm saying, that they may have. And so he was like, he think he definitely could have an idea who's been behind it, because you got brother Clyde Barnes in Newark that told him about plans that he was supposed to be doing. So Bumpy just kind of like, you know what I'm saying, give him the side eye. So he was like, yeah, Bumpy told him Malcolm is not letting him protect him. And then he was like, I actually disagree with him. He was like, oh, how convenient is that you're disagreeing with him with that? So then Omar walks a little bit closer and was like, listen, I'm afraid his days is numbered. He gonna be taken out any minute now. They definitely are trying to kill him. And the fact that your daughter is always so close by his side makes me even more worried. So of course he gives Bumpy attention, you know, with him saying that. He looking at him and looking at Elise, and Elise looking at both of them or whatever, right? So, you know, Bumpy is like, all right, we gonna see what the hell, you know, info you could give us, and we gonna get on that. So now we basically have you know, Battle bring his raggedy behind to Columbo now. Now he trying to all of a sudden still want the same deal that he was going to have from before, you know, and he's over here trying to see whether it's safe to talk in front of Stella or not, talking about is she just going to sit there. And he was like, yeah, she work here. What the hell? She ain't the damn maid. So they both were saying like they agree whatever is said in this room will not leave the room, or whatever the case may be. And Battle started telling him like, yes, you are going to give me the same damn, you know, offer, because Columbo was saying, well, that shit passed. You basically turned me down 2 different times that I was trying to offer you something, and why would I want to talk to you about anything now? And he was like, yeah, I heard about the whole thing with you and Bumpy, or whatever the case may be. Is a small town, so of course, you know, word travels. And he was like, you know, that y'all doing good and y'all having the cocaine market or whatever. Congratulations on that. And so Battle over here talking about something in light of his current situation or whatever, he feel like he should be looking for a new partner, and that he got a whole bunch of stuff to offer, right? Of course, backing with his daggone guns, the coke and everything, right? And gonna talk about some they got common interests or whatever as far as getting Bumpy out. So you know, Columbo, that's gonna be music to his damn ears. And I just was like, ooh, you freaking rat bastard, Battle. I swear I don't like you no more. Okay, I really thought you was gonna be coming with something. So he was like, you will give me the exact terms, because I'm gonna be able to, you know, tell you all about most valuable things that you need or whatever, and valuable arrangements. So now when he's basically talking about Bumpy, here goes Stella intervening, talking about some, well, not for nothing, you know, anything that Bumpy touches, anything that he does, all right, is gonna be on and popping and jumping off, because he's a big, you know, because the businessman, and he do what he supposed to do with that part. I said, child. So we got freaking LaCrossy, what's his name? Lucchese, sitting here with Dag on Chen, baby, and Chen just is talking and saying, you know, what's been going on? What's happening here? Having a little smoke or whatever, right? And he's telling him like, well, when you was away, things got a little complicated. And he like, oh no, it's not complicated. It's simple math. Okay, Chen says you basically installed Joe to go ahead and go against my damn family or whatever the case may be. That's how you tried to repay me. So he was like, no, well, while you were late, Columbo got the jump off on Bumpy or whatever the case may be. So he was like, well, you know, we need to have a sit down. And he was like, good, Columbo wants to have a sit down too. He said he got a proposal. So Chena's like, and what is that? He was like, I don't know, but you know, when he's supposed to come in for this meeting. So then he's like, okay. He says, well, you don't know. He was like, what, is it a secret? He was like, no, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't told me yet. So Chen just smoking his cigarette. He like, you know what? He was like, what about, you know, the secret that you got that you and I can share? And so he's over here trying to look confused. And he was like, that you put a hit out on my daughter. He said, don't you dare. Shut the hell up. Okay, shut the hell up. Don't you say not one word. He was like, you basically put out Frank. And should I call him up in Florida and see what's he gonna say or whatever the case may be, right? Should I give him a ring? And so he was like, well, it was your wife that came to me crying and telling me, you know, that your daughter was basically gonna turn on my daughter and testify against the Lucchese family or whatever the case may be, my family. So he was like, I'm sorry, Chen. So Chen is like, okay, I got you. You know what I'm saying? That's fair enough or whatever the case may be. You know, I can respect that. He was like, all right, all right, all right. He was like, it was an honest mistake. Yo, Chen, so he was like, you know, my wife be confused or whatever. Shan took that damn knife and told them to hold down his hands and was like, chop, 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 okay? Like he was chopping up some damn chicken, damn shrimps, y'all, and cut them fingers right the hell off. Lucchese over here screaming, talking about some, no, no, no. You know, he basically told them to wrap up his damn hand and get him home. I said, yes, baby, all right, we like to see it. So we got Battle back here talking with Wild Bill or whatever and saying how he want to go in with these damn, you know, 5 families, telling him about the deal that he trying to make with Colombo now, whatever. And Wild Bill is like, they don't know nothing about cocaine, and he's saying how they can learn or whatever. So he's like, well, you know, our interests don't need to be alarmed. He was like, the problem is that Bumpy is not afraid of them, so they basically got to have an insurance policy because you keep using the Operation Mongoose against them. So he was like, he just needs reminding of who's in charge. Right there, I was like, what the hell are y'all about to freaking do? Like, what is the freaking issue here, yo? So we, of course, had Chin, you know, come through and speak to Bumpy and say a nice view or whatever. And they was like, you know, it's good to be out and, you know, meet each other up in solitude and how things have changed and all of that. And so he was like, I understand that you basically teamed up with Jose Battle and refused Colombo. So he was like, yeah, I'm through with the Italians, no offense. You know, Jose Battle was one of my own. So he was like, well, there's no hiding places for us or whatever. He was like, not even when, you know, you want to meet up. So he was like, you know, I trust those greedy bastards on the commission or whatever. You know, we had it all. So he was basically like, you know, with the last shipment or whatever, they would have, you know, dominated Harlem or whatever. And then he said, but it didn't work out. So he was basically like, well, there's another shipment, a bigger one that we had. And, you know, Bumpy is like, come on now. And he was telling him, let's handle it. So, of course, at first, Bumpy is like, you know, I can't help you. Like, I'm out. I'm not dealing with that no more. Whatever. Malcolm X is in danger and I basically got to save my friend. You know, that's where my focus is right now. And he go walking away from Chen and Chen is just looking like, are you freaking kidding me? So now we seeing Omar go with, you know, Chance and Nate telling them, you know, where this guy is and, you know, how he got to speak to him and how he have him thinking that he's down with what he want to do with Malcolm, whatever, and he don't know what he going to be able to get from him. And he's like, they like, listen, whatever you can get out of him, trust me, we will. You know, we got Stella coming into work or whatever, and she's basically giving Colombo the warning, like, you don't know my father, you don't know how he getting down, he's gunning for you, you know, and he's telling her, well, I got it. Don't worry about it. He was like, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing he could do to me that I don't know how to handle. And he basically was telling her that he do know her father, whatever, right? And then she was saying how she tired of course, the same thing Stella always say, him being in charge of her and controlling her because he's like, you know, he just love you and care you and wanted you to be protected. And she was like, no, it's not love. It's control. So he was basically telling her if she want to leave that she can or whatever. So she was like, well, it seemed like, you know, that's not control with what you saying that I could be able to leave or whatever. You know, what is that about? And he was like, I don't know. And the next thing you know, of course, we get in a little kissy pool. I think everybody saw that coming. Okay, that was no shocker, baby. We knew that they was going some kind of way get intertwined. And so that will probably be what's going to save his life, because at the end of the day, how many of Stella's men have Chen killed? So now we get to Omar coming in here and trying to talk to, you know, Dumb and Newark about what went down and what's the plan and how they messed up. And if he would have known and been able to help and put into it, then maybe the plan wouldn't have got for you. And homeboy over here trying to talking about, what are you talking about? Whatever do you mean? You know, the minister said for us to not do anything. And he was like, well, you know how sometimes he say one thing out in the open, but it be something else that be going on. And he was like, the last time I was here, you was talking to me about certain different things or whatever. But they was basically trying not to give up anything, right? And, you know, basically trying to send him on his daggone way. So, of course, we're going to have to go another route with that. So now we get to freaking Olympia here in this sexy nightgown and talking about, oh my goodness, I was wondering when you was gonna come. And he's like, I'm here now. And she's like, oh, where I got this nightgown from? And it came all the way from what she said, daggone, Florence or somewhere the case may be, and from Italy, right? And it's just for you and ready for you to take it off. Isn't it gorgeous? Don't you just love it and all of that? And so, baby, she's sitting down on his lap and rubbing him and hugging him and kissing. Next thing you know, he popped up and started choking the hell out of her. What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? That's my damn daughter. That's my daughter. That's my daughter. You think you would ever come over her? That's my daughter. What's wrong with you? You was with that damn Luke Casey. That's my daughter. So I say, get her, Chin. Get her, get her, get her. Yes, choke the life out of her, okay? He was like, you're dead to me. You're dead to me, okay? I said, nah, Chin, you was supposed to really make her dead, okay? But I'll take that for now, right? So she over here, ooh. So the next thing you know, Omar and them is basically waiting in the car because, of course, his plan didn't work. So now we gonna do it our way. And, Chance is in the car with him, and he like, watch, ready, 1, 2, 3, boom. So he go and beat him in the head and knock him out. And he like, damn, it only took one freaking blow. And then they say, Nat says, yeah, that's Chance's specialty. He was like, he could basically knock a man out and keep his brain intact so that when he wakes up, he can answer the damn questions. And Omar looking like, I said, yeah, Omar, make one wrong damn move, and that's what they're going to be doing to your ass. So now we have Columbo come over to Chen or whatever. He told the lady to get them some cappuccinos, and he like, well, you wanted to talk, so let's talk, Columbo telling him, welcome back, it's good to see you, and all of this, trying to make his little small talk and be, respectable. And so he was like, well, I wanted to come to you out of respect or whatever and come in peace. He was like, I actually have a proposition for you. And so Chen is basically like, well, maybe, you should just hold off on that. And Columbo saying, like, I know you angry, but hopefully, you ain't going to be angry too long, because you're going to basically be able to realize that I never betrayed you. And so Columbo is like, Chen is like, you leave Harlem. And so Columbo basically starts laughing or whatever. And he's sipping on his little cappuccino or whatever. So he was like, well, I had a feeling you was going to say that. He said, well, at the risk of being annoying further or whatever, he was like, I got big things planned. I think you should hear what I'm talking about first, and that you will want to be a part of it. You're the one that made me a boss in the first place, and I'm grateful for that. And so, I'm grateful to you. So he was like, please tell me how I can make peace between us or whatever, right? And so Chen is basically just looking at him, and then he's basically like, when he went to prison, Giovanni or whatever, he was like, he asked me to look after his affairs like I asked you. So he was basically like, I was his driver. And he said, nobody respected me, everybody just, kind of overlooked me and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so he said, only when they seen what I did to the others, snakes and punks like you or whatever the case may be, that I actually start to get that respect. And so he was just basically like, they learned pretty fast not to mess with me. So he basically was saying like, that's a lesson that I intend to teach you, And so he basically, Columbo just smiles at him or whatever. And he was like, well, I tried, Can't say I didn't try. Like, that's what Columbo told Chen. And then he got up and he walked away or whatever, right? So now, Elise is walking, and some guys come up to her. They like Elise or whatever, and she's like, what are y'all doing? Next thing you know, they putting something over her face and grabbing her and throwing her in the damn car. So Malcolm is about to go to Detroit to give this speech, and he's like, but Elise is not here. That's something ain't right. She always here. She never missed nothing. They saying how they can't find her, but they like, you got to go ahead. You got to make your flight. We can't wait around on that. So they like, they going to go ahead and continue to look for her or whatever, but he have to go because then he's going to miss the flight. We seeing Mamie and Bumpy talking, and she's saying how he's telling her how, Chen is out and how he had tried to come and speak to him or whatever the case may be. You know, he wanted him to be his partner again. And she was like, well, what did you say? And he was like, oh, well, I basically told him I turned it down, no. And she was like, good, that's a start. And so he was like, maybe it's the end or whatever. And, he was like, you gotta play chess or whatever when your opponent, has a better position or whatever, right? And they could attack you from any direction. So, of course, she talking about some, what are you talking about or whatever. He was like, no matter what, I just need you to believe in me and to go along with me and to know that I'm making the right decisions. He letting her know that he got to do what he got to do or whatever, right? And so they know that battle was in with the CIA and that they against him and all that different kind of stuff. So he's just basically like, I want to come out of this alive. I also want to be able to protect, Malcolm and all that. So I just need to know that you're with me in there, right? And then, it's about surviving at this point. So, she didn't say anything to that. So then Bumpy get the call, of course, that they got the guy down there, for him to go ahead and talk to Clyde. And he like, I'm on my way. And then Chen comes into the meeting with the bosses in Colombo. And he's basically telling them, he wants Colombo out of New York, point blank, period, right? He wants him gone. And now all of a sudden, of course, because Lucchese hand done got chopped off, excuse me, Chen is telling them that he's taking control of the shipment. He's going to be the one that's handling all of the agreements. So he was like, he's no longer needed and he no longer matters or whatever as far as Colombo. He was like, I want Joe out of Harlem and that's it. And so, they like, is that it? And he was like, yeah, there's more. If he doesn't want to leave, then I'm going to force him out or whatever the case may be. So now Colombo basically uses his hand, of course, and starts to tell them about Chen had all these accusations, which all of us know that are not true or whatever the case may be. He's got a grudge and he was like, I'm sure he'll get over it. And Chen is like, try me or whatever, right? And then they like, please, please. So nonetheless, he starts saying how he got the CIA and the FBI back in. Of course, this could give them guns. This could give them the daggone cocaine. Plus what they already get with the daggone Zucci, the heroin, whatever have you. And they could be bigger than I don't know what. So they like, and what do we have to do? And he was like, well, we good at kill. So Chen was basically saying like, oh, he full of crap. He ain't got no daggone CIA and stuff with him. And of course, here come damn Wild Bill walking in talking about, hey, y'all doing, gentlemen, or whatever case may be, so they can see that, he is for real. So now, of course, Malcolm is, over here in Detroit giving his speech and all of that. And then Bumpy is down here beating the crap out of Homeboy, asking him who the hell is these people that's been in on it, who was behind the daggone bombing. And he finally admits, oh yeah, the big white fellow, right? Wild Bill just making his rounds or whatever. So once he get the answer out of him, he go ahead and, cut his neck. So now in the meantime, what else happened? Chen came to tell Stella that she gotta leave and she can't be there at Colombo's, job no more, and working with him and staying him, all of that. Because Chen was like, you still coming trying to start messing with him? And he was like, nah, actually, I'm here to get my daughter. Wild Bill basically is the one that took freaking Elise and gonna talk about oh, I heard that you was a damn, addict before, whatever, right? Once an addict, always an addict. I'm about to give you a little dose of this, and what you gonna do is go and tell your daddy that he gonna start playing games with me and he gonna do what we want him to do when we wanted to do it, how we want him to do it, and that's that on that. And she's over here like, please, no, don't, and trying to beg the freaking black guy that was there, and he looking at her like he's stupid, and they shoot her up with this freaking heroin again in her arm. And that pissed me off, y'all. I thought it was gonna be a thing of when Malcolm died or something, she probably would have went into depression and then ended up turning back to it. But no, Wild Bill done put it in her arm. And if you think that's gonna make Bumpy come and do what you want him to do, Wild Bill, then you don't know damn Bumpy. I said, you bastard. So they go and they dump her on the freaking sidewalk or whatever the case may be. And now when Bumpy is basically, getting back or whatever, he freaking seeing her on the damn sidewalk And he's like, oh, Elise, and asking them to help her up and get her the freak upstairs. And he's just looking pissed. So now him and Chin meet up again. And Chin is like, why did you call me? And Bumpy is like, I reconsidered your damn proposal, bitch. Oh, no, he didn't say bitch. I'm sorry. I'm just mad. But he was like, I'm in. Let's take back Harlem. I said, I know that's freaking right. Y'all done play with the wrong damn one, okay? But anyway, y'all, that was Godfather of Harlem, child. Tell me what y'all thought about it, what you liked, what you didn't like, your rating, all that good stuff. Anything that I left out, put it in the comments. Let's discuss it down there. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. Till next time, y'all.